Last week saw the WWE bring out a cavalcade of stars from the past for its Raw reunion, but this week it's back to business as the WWE prepares for SummerSlam. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at how Raw got violent last night, as well as the latest wrestling news. Raw opens up with a hype video that airs for the 24/7 Championship, arguably the hottest belt in WWE right now in terms of fan interest. It's a 24/7 Championship mosh pit match between champion RTruth and Carmella versus Drake Maverick and his wife Renee. The 24/7 rule is temporarily suspended as the two teams battle for the 24/7 Championship. The rules are vague, but then again, this is the 24/7 belt we're talking about. A group of wrestlers surround the ring while the match takes place. Lots of dissension between Drake and his wife, so RTruth takes advantage, hitting the Gourd Buster on Maverick for the 1-2-3. RTruth retains with Carmella. After the match, the 24/7 rule apparently goes back into effect, and it's a mass of humanity as they jump on top of RTruth. Mike Kanellis makes the pin, and he's your new 24/7 champion. Now, the WWS Attitude Era owed part of its success due to its Crash TV format, and it's difficult to think of any modern segments that even come close. That is, except for the 24/7 Championship, a meaningless title that means everything and has helped get wrestlers like Drake Maverick and Renee into the spotlight, and also brought wrestlers back into the spotlight. Mike Kanellis runs for his life hiding backstage. Wife Maria demands to see him, but hubby Mike thinks it's a trick. He only relents after Maria threatens to kick him in the lady parts. Next up, it's a gauntlet match for the #1 contender to the US Championship. Round 1 starts off with Rey Mysterio vs Cesaro, and the two actually get time to work their match, albeit with those annoying pauses for commercial breaks, with Cesaro looking strong. Rey triumphs after hitting the 619 and a frog splash, thus eliminating Cesaro. While the WWE deserves props for holding a longer match with two solid workers, it's a shame Cesaro's push is over, even though he enjoyed a short win streak in order to build him up for the Aleister Black's Extreme Rules match. Round 2, it's Rey Mysterio vs Sami Zayn. Zayn attacks Rey from behind, but it's all for naught as Mysterio rolls him up for a quick pin. Sami Zayn is about one stop from becoming the new James Ellsworth. Granted, a James Ellsworth with considerably more talent. The WWE should consider moving him to 205 Live where he might be used properly. Andrade's up next, and both superstars put on an entertaining bout, and it's obvious they could have had a good program if the WWE decided to pit them against one another. Hey, we could watch these two for hours. After wrestling 2 matches, Rey is obviously less than 100%, and Andrade seizes his chance, grabbing Mysterio when he goes for the 619 and delivers a brutal backbreaker. He hits a DDT on Rey for the pin, and Andrade advances. An excellent display by both men, and it's obvious Rey continues to help put younger talent such as Andrade over. Andrade managed to pull Rey's mask off, a feat Rey sold in an interview later, which could lead to a program between the two again. Round 4 sees Ricochet vs Andrade, and this one has it all as Ricochet and Andrade showcase a number of signature moves and counter wrestling, making for one of the most exciting matches seen on Raw in some time. After a number of near falls, Ricochet is able to finish things off when he lands the 630, covering Andrade for the win. Thus, Ricochet earns a US Championship title match at SummerSlam against champion AJ Styles. This gauntlet match did a good job putting both Andrade and Ricochet over. Andrade needs more build-up, but he showed that he's a standout performer who the WWE should try pushing harder. After his victory, Ricochet thanks the fans for the support and says it was hard to believe it when he beat Samoa Joe for the US title. Ricochet says some people can only believe what they see, so at SummerSlam, AJ Styles will become a believer when he sees Ricochet defeat him for the US title. Backstage, Maria Kanellis tells her husband to get on his back, a position he's used to, she says, and a clueless Mike asks what's going on as Maria covers him for the pin while the referee counts to 3. Maria adds more salt in the wounds by telling Mike she wants her unborn child to have a champion as a parent. Maria gets in Titus O'Neil's face and asks him if he wants to wrestle a pregnant woman to regain the title. O'Neil apparently doesn't. Absolute genius booking. Who's gonna cover a pregnant lady? It's time for a moment of bliss with Alexa Bliss and BFF Nikki Cross. Alexa and Nikki recall the fun of last week's Raw reunion and think Stone Cold Steve Austin said it best when he said the WWE superstars are all one big family. However, the goddess says not everyone is honourable, and she discusses Dolph Ziggler super kicking Shawn Michaels last week on SmackDown, and a recent incident where Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch attacked Natalya while Natalya was training with Fit Finlay, locking Natty in the disarmer. Becky Lynch appears on the Titantron and reminds Bliss they have a match tonight and she'll have to answer for any trash talking. The man calls out Cross, asking her if she came all the way from Scotland to get Bliss's coffee. Bliss proves again she's a multi-talented performer who is equally good in talk segments as she is in the ring. Nikki Cross is definitely getting the rub from being with Bliss, but it's too early to tell whether it'll last, or she'll end up playing the Alex Riley role and fade away. We then get a triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team Championship between the Revival, the OC, and the Usos. All three teams come out strong and stay strong until the very end. The highlight of the match is Jay superplexing Scott Dawson out of the ring onto the competitors outside the ring. The OC proved their back when they hit the Magic Killer on Jimmy for the win. The OC are the new Raw Tag Team Champions. If WWE ever wanted to build up its tag team division, these are the type of matches that can do the job. Excellent job by all three teams, and the OC are currently looking strong now that they have the Raw Tag Team Championship and the US Championship. It's jobber time as the Viking Raiders go against Cole Carter and Johnny James. Do we really need to say who came out with the win in this one? The Viking Raiders need to move up from squashing jabronis to wrestling named teams, even if they're mid-card acts. Until they do, their wins are meaningless other than getting some TV exposure. The Street Profits are backstage discussing tonight's happenings on Raw. The NXT Tag Team Champions have some humorous back and forth, then discuss how the entire WWE roster is behind Seth Rollins. They're definitely grooming their Street Profits for a full-time gig on Raw once their NXT run ends. Non-title match up next as Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch goes up against Alexa Bliss. Little Miss Bliss may not be a submission specialist, she's a former women's champion and knows how to hang tough. Unfortunately, when Becky hits the exploder, it looks like she's injured Bliss. Becky Lynch wins, but only by referee stoppage. Nikki Cross then starts to talk trash, which leads to an impromptu bout. Nikki's brawling tactics keep her in the match, but she fails in a top rope attempt and Lynch hits the manhandle slam for the win. In one of the greatest examples of miracles of modern medicine, Alexa Bliss recovers and attacks Lynch. Nikki joins in on the fun as they drop the dogs on the man. Natalya runs in, but she's not out to help the champion. Instead, she locks in the sharpshooter as Lynch clutches her knee in pain. Backstage, Natalya wishes she could get Lynch to agree to a submission match at SummerSlam, as it's the Disarm Her versus the Sharpshooter. Natalya doubts as Lynch has the guts though. Maria Kanellis is basking in the spotlight as a picture is taken celebrating her 24/7 championship win. Strowman shows up and Maria tells the monster among men he has no idea what she's going through being pregnant. She asks him to show how big and strong he is. He breathes hard, perhaps giving Kanellis some tips for any antenatal classes. Sexy Boy plays, but it's not Shawn Michaels who shows up, but Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler says it looks like Seth has lost his smile. Ziggler mocks Goldberg and Michaels before saying he's the true main eventer. Rollins vs Ziggler is up next, and both men are skilled technicians, but it's still hard to take Ziggler as a threat in the main event. He gets a near fall, but the match ends when Universal Champion Brock Lesnar hits the ring. And oh boy, does he hit the ring alright. Lesnar absolutely destroys him, playing handball with Rollins using the ringside barrier, followed by an F5 into the ring post. Lesnar continues destroying Rollins, blasting him with a chair, then hitting two F5s on the chair. Rollins even starts bleeding from the mouth. Rollins is stretchered out as Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns watch the aftermath. The big dog sees his cousins, the Usos, being pummeled by Anderson and Gallows, but before he can jump in, Samoa Joe attacks him. Rollins is in an ambulance, but his nightmare isn't over. Lesnar blocks the ambulance and then drags Rollins out of it. He starts to attack Rollins again, this time F5ing him onto the gurney. Is Rollins going to be back in time for SummerSlam? Lesnar's attack was the kind of thing that should write someone out for months, but in WWE who knows? As we've discussed recently, there's talk Lesnar will be around more now that his MMA return is officially over. Tonight's Lesnar appearance was a good example of how to use him. The only question is whether the WWE is willing to destroy Lesnar's credibility by having Rollins back for their SummerSlam match, or the WWE is preparing a new challenger. Tonight was supposed to feature a Samoan summit between Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns, but Joe is in the ring and announces peace talks are over. Joe invites Reigns to step up to him, and the big dog wastes no time answering the challenge. There's a battle of the Samoan Supermen that sees Joe whip Reigns into the steel steps, and Reigns throw the steps at Joe. Drew McIntyre runs in, but Cedric Alexander is there to even the odds. It's an all-out brawl as the OC show up, followed by the Usos. The babyfaces are too much for the heels, and they drive them to the back area. Wow, what a show. This has to be the best Raw of the entire year, with a 24/7 championship fun and swerves, some of the best wrestling on TV in a long time, a beatdown for the ages, and a brawl to settle it all to wrap up the show. Raw over-delivered, and all we can say, it's about damn time. Next up, a little bit of news, as Mr. McMahon decries AEW's bloody content to potential advertisers. Some fans are crying foul over comments Vince McMahon made during his telephone call with investors, recently saying that WWE isn't going to rely on blood and guts like AEW. Obviously, McMahon will do whatever it takes to harm AEW, whether it's running shows against them or trying to turn advertisers against sponsoring AEW television. Even though AEW has stated its TV content and pay-per-view content will be noticeably different in their use of blood, it's debatable about whether advertisers will pick up on this distinction. AEW also announced ticket prices for their TV premiere. All Elite Wrestling's premiere episode of their weekly TNT TV series will happen on 2nd October at Washington DC's Capital One Arena, and Ringside News recently reported on the prices and that the tickets will go on sale Friday 2nd August at noon. All Elite Wrestling has revealed the tickets for this historic event will go on sale this Friday. Tickets will be as low as $20, but they will go up to $250 for the first 3 rows at ringside on the floor. Fans who get those seats will also get to take home a collector's chair when the event is over. Therefore, the ticket ranges for this event will be $250, $90, $75, $50, $35, and $20. AEW is looking to sell out the Capital One Arena for the debut show, so this should be a good gauge of the company's popularity among casual fans and AEW fanatics. Falling short of a sellout wouldn't be a failure, but a poor turnout like WWE's Stomping Grounds pay-per-view would be the bad start for the new promotion. And lastly, no wrestling during commercials ban finished? If tonight's Raw is any evidence, it looks like Vince McMahon has given up on banning wrestling during commercials. The WWE chairman's edict was a bad idea from the beginning, and we can only hope it's gone for good. What did you guys think of Raw this week? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.